And Anthony Martial wants to quit Manchester United this summer after rejecting a new 5-year contract. This is breaking in the last hour or so. It's from French media RMC Sports. The Twitter account, I can't even remember his name or can't pronounce it to be honest with you, but it's got about 250,000 followers, whatever that means. But it is... I'm hoping Anthony Martial now comes out like he has done in the past and says it's a load of nonsense and I do want to play for Manchester United and I am going to stay. But this is something I think many Manchester United fans have probably feared for quite a while when it comes to it. And Ashwin says he blames Mourinho. I'm not going to go as far as that yet, but what I will say is that it doesn't surprise me the way this is sort of twisted, and now people may start thinking that Martial is the villain in all this. All I've ever said when it comes to the situation with Anthony Martial and Manchester United is that the season didn't start in January. Pogba playing well in the second half against Man City is not the first time he's played well this season. He played well back in November, back in September. Anthony Martial, I get tired of saying this, I should copyright it. 3 times Player of the Month this season up until January. That's more than 50% of the months he was our Player of the Month. Scored the winning goal, the only goal, the week before we signed Alexis Sanchez. We got excited about the signing of Alexis Sanchez, who is a world-class player. I don't want Sanchez to be seen as the fall guy in this. World-class player Sanchez, who we thought would play on the right, with Martial developing into a world-class player on the left, which is how he started the season. Sanchez came in, Martial was chucked to the right, then he was dropped very quickly. No patience, no giving him a bit of time to develop on the right-hand side when he's played on the left. Martial's on the bench, can't get minutes. Clearly looks like Manchester United have offered him a 5-year contract. That's pretty substantial and I would hope that he signs it. But I've always had this fear, I don't know about you lot, in relation to Anthony Martial, I've always had this fear that my fear is that effectively I don't really think Mourinho's got a lot of time for Van Gaal, and I don't think Van Gaal's got a lot of time for Mourinho. And unfortunately for Anthony Martial, he scored a brilliant goal on his debut within the first 2 minutes against Liverpool. He had a brilliant debut season. He was a brilliant buy. He's one of the big positives from a very, very negative Van Gaal era. Whether it was Giggs or scouting him as well or not, Martial was a signing of Louis Van Gaal's. And I don't think that's ever gone in his favour with Mourinho. I think Mourinho doesn't really like Van Gaal signings, doesn't really like Martial, doesn't really want him as his player. That is Mourinho's right, he is the manager of Manchester United, but I've seen very little evidence that Jose Mourinho has ever really taken to Anthony Martial. And I think that's unfortunate because many Manchester United fans have. He is and reflects what Manchester United's all about, buying somebody ridiculously young with massive potential and developing and making them into a world star. And I think it's abundantly clear that Anthony Martial wants to do that. Only in the last couple of weeks we've seen pictures of Anthony Martial with Mata and having a good old laugh, and he looks happy, and that's the sort of thing I'm clinging on to, that maybe this news is a load of nonsense, but it's from France. It's pretty distinct. He's rejected, he wants to go, he's rejected a 5-year contract. And actually, totally different story to David De Gea, because if David De Gea decided he wanted to go, I would be very, very upset. But I would say, look, he's put up with a lot of crap for 5 years, he's been our best player, why shouldn't he go off and win things? From Martial's point of view, I sort of understand it, although I don't want it to happen. If he decides he wants to go, I sort of understand it, because what more can he do? What more can he do? It's all right saying, oh, he's turning his back on us, this, that and the other. He's a 22-year-old who should be playing every week for whatever club he's at, and he did very, very, very well this season. Very well. From a poor season last year, he obviously put the work in. He did very, very, very well. How was he rewarded? Mourinho went out in January and replaced him. I mean, I don't to this day understand why Mourinho did that. As I said, Alexis Sanchez is a great signing, but I think he should be on the right-hand side, and Martial should have been left on the left-hand side with Rashford to develop there. And let's not forget, Rashford played brilliant on the left-hand side against Liverpool, put that Trent Alexander-Arnold Smith, whatever his name is, in his pocket, swung him round his head and threw him threw him at Old Trafford. That lad played brilliantly against Sane, who I really rate last week. Since that Premier League game against Liverpool, Rashford hasn't started a Premier League game. He's been on the bench again because Sanchez has got to play. The Sanchez signing is good, but it's in the wrong position and it's screwing up 2 of the best young talents in the league. And Sanchez came off in the Manchester derby. Rashford came on. Martial didn't even get on. So I can even see his third choice at the moment. If he can see that, it's horrible for him. But I think he's like, why the hell would I sign a long contract under this manager, who no matter what I do, I could come into work on a Fellaini wig with stilts on and pretend to be Fellaini and he still wouldn't pick me. So I think it's it doesn't look good for Martial. I'm not convinced it's over yet. I'm hoping that Martial will do his normal thing, like I say, on Twitter and come out and say I want to stay. It's not over yet, and we have to believe that. But I would not be surprised if he rejects a new contract and goes in the summer. And of course, Mourinho will twist it and say, I wanted him to stay, I wanted him to sign a new contract, I wanted him to stay. But that's just manipulation of the fans and the media and everybody else, isn't it? The reality is, when you look at the cold, harsh facts, can you blame... Well, I throw it to you lot. You're the voice that matters. Can you blame Anthony Martial for leaving? Sign a new 5-year contract and spend most of it on the bench, and no matter how well you play, you might get replaced again or shoved back on the bench. Unless he's going to give him his opportunity and play him week in, week out, what choice does he have? Let's have a look. I just need to have a look at some of your live comments, and we will... Hi, 11 Met fan, 11, bye! Bye-bye. Mourinho chooses work rate over quality. No wonder we are 16 points behind Manchester City, says Kingdom FX. You know what? I tweeted this before as well. I get fed up and tired of listening to this. It's not what they do on the ball, it's what they do off the ball. We're not Stoke, we're Manchester United. Ryan Giggs was brilliant on the ball, but he tracked back as well. I don't want wingers who play for Manchester United just because they track back. I'm going to have to go. That's embarrassing. I'm going to have to go. Anyway, it was only meant to be a quick video anyway. We're live again at 11 o'clock tonight for the transfer show. Live at 11 o'clock tonight, not 8 o'clock, because we're watching Man City versus Liverpool on That's Football. Thanks everyone for watching. Get commenting below, and I'll speak to you all very, very soon. Better go and get that door. Shut that door.